tell me about this walk that you're doing.
This walk, about a year ago now, this time last year I was actually walking back. I had a girlfriend in London now. Was down there for like 4 or 5 months, everything was set. Great job. Obviously split up with this girl because she wanted me to start paying her debts off, as well as the house bills every month. And she goes, well, you're on a good wage, you can pay 300 quid towards my debts. I was like, whoa, no, they're your debts, I don't mind paying the household bills. I said, but they're your debts. So she didn't like it, so she kicked me out with nothing. Absolutely, she took my bank cards, she took my wallet, my phones. So I was left in landlord now. I've got no family anyway because I was brought up in care, so I've not really got anyone like that. And no phone, no contact or nothing. The only way for me to get back was to walk back from London now all the way to Cannock, which is where I was originally from. Don't get me wrong, I did try doing the cheat option and go to London and say, you know, I'm homeless, this, you know, and it says, well, you've got no relatives or you've got no one around here, so you have to go back to your local government, your local council. So I had to walk all the way back to council, all the way back to Cannock. It took me 14 days, 110 miles along the canal, and now I'm doing it again. Obviously, the Reece Foundation helped me get my flat again, get me into thing again. Now I just want to give something back. So it's like, I've took off the Reece Foundation, they've helped me, the support, and they're still there for me. But now it's time for me to give something back to them and just to prove, you know, that the support that young people are getting is not what it should be.
Give me a bit of background. How old are you now?
I'm 25 now.
25?
26 in November.
And when did you leave the care system?
I left the care system just when I turned 18.
That house was where I spent the first night, side of it, in a tent, it was abandoned. Part one of the journey was started there.
Because there is nothing.
No.
There's nothing to look after kids when they're post 18.
No, there's nothing. Just get that. They just think you're 18 now. They haven't got a responsibility as such. They've done what they can with you, and that's it. As where I know a few of my friends that have been through the care system that are falling flat on the face as soon as turned 19, 20. They've had everything and they've been set up for life, but the care that they've got after that's gone, it's just set them up to fail. So they do become on the streets and do become homeless again because they haven't got the mentality or the things to think, okay, I've got to pay my rent here, I've got to pay this here, I've got to pay this here, I've got to do my washing, I've got to be clean.
Yeah.
And they go backwards on themselves as well. There should be something really there that can support. Not even if it's just one visit a month or one visit every 2 months, just so that they can get the structure in to say, yeah, you're doing fine or you can improve on this. No one likes to say that, you know, you're doing bad, but for someone to say, you know, you're actually doing quite well here, you've stepped up, but they don't have it, and it's social services see you when if you're on a care order, as soon as you touch 18, that care order's gone, so it's
correct.
Whatever it is, if your mum was dangerous, violent, a druggie or drunk or whatever, you can go back to them. And some people do, and then they realise for themselves that, you know, that was the reason he was put into care. And it just sends a downward spiral again because they're not ready for that at 18.
No, of course not.
They should be there in foster carers until 21.
What was the weather like when you did it?
Warm.
Was it?
Yeah.
Which is worse in some ways, isn't it? It was just a killer.
I only had 1 day of rain when I walked. That was like the second to last day, and I was right. No, we're going to stop in Coleman Bay in the mountain.
Do you want?
Brilliant. Was it 11 days you did it over? Oh.
I've got to try this bunion thing there, but...
And did no one move you on at night?
Oh, there.
That's good, isn't it?
Yeah.
Did you sleep on the beach any night?
Is it a blister?
No, I stayed on the Great Orme in Lambeth now for 2 nights before setting off. Then that house on the way from Lambeth now was where I stopped.
No, you might
The first night, and granted it's only the other side of London now where it was to where we stopped first time, but it was good. And then I come off the thing and went up to Coleman Bay.
Oh yeah.
And then stopped up there.
Ultimately, we are a product of the government. You know, whatever departments there are, but that's what we are.
Yeah.
And but it's not financially viable for them, and it's not a pretty thing for them to actually go out and look after them. And you're right, it wouldn't take much to have a couple of group meetings, you know, because they can lessen the amount of time that you need over a period of time. Once you know how to sign on, do your own washing, cooking. Well, it's your speciality, something that you got into. I learned to cook from when I was arrived in London at 18, living on people's floors. I mean, you know, I managed to get a grant, etc. I was very motivated, don't get me wrong, you know, and my joie de vivre has never been displaced. I've always been a glass half full. But then I do know other people, like you said, who were there who couldn't cope as well as I could, and so I feel more for them.
Then I decided to pitch my tent on a hill like this, so I couldn't be seen. The next morning, of course, I had the entrance here. The whole tent was flooded with water where I was drenched.
It was no different in the 70s. As soon as you were 18, case closed. In fact, I've got the documentation. I got the documentation back from social services, and I got all my school reports, and I got my social worker reports, and I got all of this, and it was very, very interesting reading about what people actually thought about me and what the social workers thought about me and all of this, you know, the stuff that they have to make up, and the various meetings they have about you, which seemed to me to be totally out of character. And some of the things they said to me, that Neil wants to be a professional thief. You know, and things like that, because I remember saying in an interview once that and they said, what do you think you're going to do in the future? And I said, I'd love to be a cat burglar. Because it just seemed glamorous, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, cool.
And Raffles was on the telly at the time, you wouldn't remember it. Because I left the care system now in, when I was 18, which would be, 1980. Yeah, I was born in 62, 72. Yeah, 80 when I was 18, but I was fostered for the last couple of years.
Similar to me, I was fostered for the last 19 months.
Yeah.
Which sort of set me up in a way, because it didn't, because you got the family group support there, and then all of a sudden you're 18. I don't know if it was just my foster family, but they wanted to move and they wanted to relocate, so it was like, okay, you're 18, we'll get rid of you and we'll relocate and take someone else on. I had a shower, and when you wash your hands and the water in the sink goes black, that was like 9 days worth of trekking that was for me. And I'm cutting across the grass because it's easier. Yes. See where the overhang is? The ramp and the door. I tried and it opened, there's a toilet in there, a shower in there, another room. Quite good. Put myself in one of the cubicles, put my bag here so that we could get in. A few towels on a bench, gone. Sounds nice. Better than stopping in my tent. Absolutely. I was already been on my own and I'm used to that sort of life, so it weren't no change for me, but to see it and just to be in that big wide world when I was 18, I wasn't ready, I wasn't ready.
I wasn't either.
No.
And I moved to London, you know, but I was then going into another institution. I was going into a drama school. I was actually pursuing what I loved. And I think that's probably what the difference is between, because you've been very successful, haven't you?
I've not done too bad recently, yeah. I've had it's took me up until, 6 ago with the Reece Foundation, I had to get my own place again, because I had a partner and because I'm male. So that females get everything, they get the house, they get their thingy, the dads are just left with nothing. So it's took me 5 years now to get credit checks up and get my own place. The Reece Foundation obviously helped me get my flat. Got back to where I am now, and it's just now where I'm just literally floating again, because my wages doesn't cover the fact of my rent and all this lot, but it's the stage now where I'm managing it and it's more controlled. Where before I had nothing and I couldn't lose nothing, as well now I've got furniture, I've got the stuff in my house, and I don't want to lose that now, so that's sort of my guide as to where to look forward. And
yeah, it's an incentive to keep you going. But you know what, the other alternative, I was chatting to a bloke yesterday in central London who literally, I just finished a bit of work and I was having a pint, and this bloke just started chatting to me, and he was a street dweller, but he got himself into I'm talking about this guy is like 45, and he was in the care system, and then was fostered for a short while and lived on the streets for like 20 years. And he's now got himself into a hostel, and to a point where he actually, I was having a conversation with him, he said, I can't work. I don't know what work's like. He doesn't know what to do. He wouldn't know where to go. He doesn't have a skill set. So in that sense, you know, we've both had skill sets that we were interested in when we were younger and pursued it in later life. You've always got to remember that those are the good things. Those are the good things, having a dream to pursue. This is what I've always said to other care home leavers as well, and it wasn't something that occurred to me at the time when I was doing it, but it's difficult enough being taken away from your parents. I mean, it's a big rip. I was 10 years old. It's a big rip. Yeah. And they did it on purpose. I mean, the social workers have told me, we took you away because it wasn't a safe environment. And they don't mean for me getting beaten up, but they mean for the fact that I was going out and getting in trouble and doing various burglaries and things like that. And one of the worst offences I had was stealing half a packet of Horlicks, 50p, and I think there was a bottle of Coca-Cola involved as well. And these were all brought up. Can you imagine that being read out in court? I mean, to me as a child, it probably seemed like, us being charged with murder. I wasn't really listening, to be honest. I didn't realise that at the end of the session, my parents are going to go out one door and I was going to go out the other, and I wasn't going to see them for 6 weeks. And then eventually they were allowed to come and see me after that point. So then you got rip number 2 is your foster parents who left you, and then rip number 3 is abandonment by the government and by the various agencies.
I'll get attacked for the last 5 miles, that's just laziness. Stupidity. If I broke my ankle, sprained my ankle, the damage is already done. I don't think it's broken legs, to be honest.
Right.
I think it's just a sprain. But sometimes they can be worse than a break, can't they?
If it weren't for the Reese Foundation, I don't know where I'd be now, sort of thing. It's because they're the ones that got me from Cannock, got me into the hostel, got me from the hostel into another hostel, and then into another hostel to get my own flat. As long as all that, I've had other issues, but the Reese Foundation has been more structure really, and it's giving something back to them now and other people that use that service as well as myself.
It's encouraging really organisations like this to actually get more involved, or get people to get involved, because it's very difficult, because I wasn't introduced via any organisation when I was fostered. I literally put a notice up on the sixth form college notice board. So foster parents required, and a few people volunteered, and I managed to get that. Yeah, so very difficult, but I'm really pleased you're doing it. It does need this. It needs people like you.
If I can change one person's life, then I've done my job. I've done what I've aimed to do. If someone else can go to the Reese Foundation, they give them the help and support that I've done, then in a sense I've done what I can. Because I would love to help 100 people, but if I can't, but with my story, if it's helped one person and thought, hang on, no, I won't do that, I'll go this way about it, then I've succeeded in a sense.
Yeah.
I would like to help everyone that I can, but you can't help everyone, so if I can help by raising so much money and giving it back to the Reese Foundation, then they can disperse the money to where it needs to go, to the right people and the people that need it most.
If you help people, it feels good.
Yeah, not only that, I feel good about myself for doing it. Yeah, exactly.
So let's just carry on raising awareness and keep on doing good.
Yes.
Brilliant. It's really good to meet you.
Andrew.